It really is whatever you're interested in. If I would have done this when I was 16, I'd probably be a full-blown editor.
You need to really find out what you enjoy doing.
Instead of the math skills, go get life skills.
This might be the biggest thing any of us have created.
You never failed. Have you really succeeded?
Oh. No hands.
Wow.
Now we're in.
There we have it.
Awesome.
Dillon Efron
Dillon Efron.
in the house.
How are you, brother?
Thank you guys for having me.
Yes, definitely, man. We're excited to have you here.
I've got to know Dillon over the past few years at the Mammoth Mountain Film Festival.
Is that where?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
That's where we met and spent
Yeah,
some time, and
Yeah.
got to hang out with him. And he is he's quite the outdoorsy guy.
Okay, I like it.
I would say if anyone's ever followed him on social media or knows him at all, knows that he's a very fit man.
Very
Yeah.
sturdy.
He's a very sturdy, fit man.
Yeah,
and,
I like it.
And he's very active on all sports. So that's why I kind of wanted to hit him and get him in here and pick his brain and kind of go through his story of how he got to the lifestyle he leads. Because I really do genuinely think that he's a living, eating, breathing version of what we try and promote and push here at Find Your Grind. And that is lifestyle first.
Yep.
And you are someone that lives your lifestyle. And I think you are very happy every morning when you wake up and do whatever you got to go do.
It seems like you're doing a ton of different things within the lifestyle buckets of things that you're interested in, which is cool. You know, not kind of siloing yourself into one area, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not an expert at this. I'm learning every day. And like my latest thing is learning how to edit on Premiere Pro. Like
Nice.
there's always another step that you can take it. And
Yeah.
it's just, I'm here. I'm not an expert, but I'm enjoying what I'm doing.
That's amazing. Do you, quick question, Mammoth, summertime, wintertime, what do you prefer? What's the best?
I haven't spent as much time in this summer. So right now I'd have to say winter.
Okay.
But
all right.
I saw Dingo's video from the other day, and it looks like I've got some work to do in the summer. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a weekend hiking through Yosemite, and there's like a little natural waterfall slip and slide
It looked incredible.
Nice.
that I found in there that is quite a gem.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So what we do is we have everyone take the Find Your Grind assessment.
Yep, already did it.
You took the assessment.
How was it for you, man? Did you enjoy it? What were the results? How was it?
The test, it got me thinking a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a few tricky questions in there.
Yeah.
Had to put like family over adventure at one point. I was like, oh gosh, which one do I want?
Yeah. There's a couple that you. Yeah. There's a couple of ones where it's like, oh man, I want to choose both of these.
Oh yeah, there were.
Yeah. What were your results from this test?
Let me log in real quick.
See, that app is logging people out, logging people in, logging people out. What's happening
He's
here?
got a very secure password.
Yeah.
It's a very secure password.
All right, I got it up.
All right, sweet.
I hope that you have Explorer in there.
All right, so what is it? Am I showing you all? Because I've got the picture of the brain.
Yeah, picture of the brain. You got the floating brain. So just read your top, because it'll show you top 5.
All right, so starting humanitarians 44%.
Okay.
Everybody wants humanitarian.
Right.
That means you're a good person.
All right.
Yeah.
Healer is 37%.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Competitor 37%.
Okay.
That's that. Yep.
Thrill seeker 36%.
Okay.
And leader is 38%.
Nice. Give your phone a shake right now. Give it a shake. On the side. Do you like a little?
Oh yeah.
What do you got?
Humanitarian.
Number 1.
Show it. Humanitarian. Everybody wants to be humanitarian. Some people have to lie to be a humanitarian.
Yeah. I hope I didn't.
No.
Yeah. But does that feel accurate for you?
I should probably look at what the definition of humanitarian is.
Yeah.
I think it means helping people and stuff. So
helping the world, helping people, putting other people first, being involved with humanity in positive ways.
Yeah, I definitely think that's almost the purpose of why we do what we do. So I think it's a good thing to always think about. It's like when you're doing lifestyle, you don't want to just be known as a person who's enjoying life for no apparent reason, but just enjoying things. So you've always got to have a humanitarian aspect, a family aspect or something to tie it into and make everything worth it. So it's cool that I'm thinking about it, apparently.
That's awesome, man.
So I like that.
Yeah. So what was it? I mean, what was we like to kind of go back a little bit in time and just be like, hey man, where did you grow up? What was your life like kind of in the teenage side of things? We're 13, 14 years old. What were you doing? Where did you grow up? What was life like for you? Were you a humanitarian back then? Was that like interesting to you growing up as a young kid? Like, or did you stumble into this?
So I guess going all the way back, I grew up in near Pismo Beach. It's like Arroyo Grande. It's a smaller central coast of California town. And it was a smaller town. We had like a Walmart and a movie theater. So it was like on weekends, my friends and I would get out of the city, and it was road trips. We'd find water slides, like you found like natural water slides. We'd go day trip to Havasu or to Death Valley, Sierras. It was always we're leaving, getting out, and kind of just exploring what California had to offer. Because it was either that or go to the movies. And so I think that kind of shaped where I found my enjoyment from adventure and through these, like all the friends that I had through that. So I think that was really impactful in my life.
Did you grow up playing sports, soccer or anything?
Yeah, soccer was the big one, but I really tried my hand at everything. So I played, I quit the varsity tennis team, but I played tennis. I was volleyball, which led to beach volleyball, which led to baseball was probably my best sport all the way until junior year. So soccer was my best, but I really played it all. So
Man's a savage. Played every sport possible. That's awesome, man.
I think for me, I was never like, you always wanted to be you wanted to go to college for a sport. That was the thing. And I think I was really quick at learning things, but I was never an expert at anything.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a unique situation.
Yeah.
Like I could immediately pick up tennis and be better than most people, but I was never going to be better than the best.
Yeah.
So.
Was that your focus? Like sports was your thing in high school? What was your...
Yeah, I would say sports.
Yeah. Did you have any other side things you were interested in or at the time, or was it just like school sports? Did you get good grades?
Yeah, I was a B student. I kind of take that to heart. Like that's kind of how I live my life.
Yeah.
I like even when I clean the house, I do a B job. Like I do most things B.
You get it done.
Yeah,
you get it done.
But yeah, so I think school was important. It was pretty traditional that I wanted to go to UC Santa Barbara. So I did like all the basic requirements to get there.
Yeah.
Didn't end up making it. I got like waitlisted. So eventually I made it, but by then I went to Cal Poly. And so
what does that mean, like being waitlisted? So you
I didn't get in. I didn't get in at like priority admission or something. So I had to wait to see if I could get in, and then I got in like after everybody else was, and like by then I was kind of like I had my roommate at Cal Poly, so like I was all in on Cal Poly before. And then they were like, "Oh, you got into UCSB," and I was like, it's too late," type thing.
So you didn't even transfer?
Didn't transfer, no, because it was the same summer. It was the summer going into my college year. I just didn't get in with everybody else. Like I had to wait like a month, and I was like I don't know what it was. It's just called being waitlisted.
Why would they do that?
Yeah,
I wasn't quite good enough, I guess, for that school.
Wow.
So.
You were too good for them.
Yeah.
What did you study in those years of college?
It was business, actually. So it was hard for me to define myself into any category. I just wanted broad everything. So I was business admin. I minored in economics, which was actually the first subject I fell in love in with school.
Yeah.
And then my concentration was finance, which is the exact opposite. I hated finance. Didn't like it. Was like learning a language I didn't want to learn.
Yeah. So in high school was the focus, I'm going to college because that's the thing to do, or I'm going because I want to do sports, or
Absolutely.
What was the mindset like?
I think that I was raised in that traditional you got to get your degree type of world. So that was just kind of what I was going to do.
Yeah.
And I'm happy I did it.
Yeah.
I think that those college years were so pivotal in just your learning process. And I don't regret staying broad and then figuring out what avenue I wanted to, because all the way until I graduated, like I was going to take a finance/economics job in Sacramento, and then like I could just feel inside it wasn't right. Last minute I switched and took a job at Warner Brothers and like started in the film path, the film career path. I think if I would have limited myself to something as specific as like architecture or something like that up front, my life would be a lot different.
What would you say to a kid that's trying to make that decision of like, man, I don't know if college is for me, but I have this pressure? What would you say to them like right now, right? Because that was probably a couple years back for you, but in the situation we live in now, would you recommend that to someone, or what would you say?
Geez, I just tell them to like, it really is whatever you're interested in. Like there's so much, like with YouTube and like all the stuff you can learn on the internet right now.
Yeah.
You can like I said, I'm learning Premiere Pro right now. If I would have done this when I was 16, I'd probably be a full blown editor and like have so many like videos under my belt and stuff. But you can just learn so easily now. You don't need to go to college.
So
I think college is where I learned so much about myself, and I learned about like my friends and what's important to me, but it was just the environment. It wasn't what I was learning in the school or anything.
Yeah.
So like if you're passionate about something and actually put in the work to learn it, you're going to learn it regardless.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think taking that initiative, like another example of like, besides Premiere Pro is like Spanish. I took French in school. And then lately I've been traveling to all these Spanish speaking countries. I'm like, God, I really wish I took that in school, but there's an app called Duolingo. And I've been putting in so many hours on that. And it's like, now I'm actually like picking up conversations. And I'm not the best at it still. But
are you learning the editing stuff on YouTube right now?
Yeah. Okay, every single time I have YouTube on a browser, and I'm just going back and forth between YouTube and just kind of, yeah.
That's crazy.
Don't you find though, like for the language stuff, like I started to travel the world at a very young age. It was Japanese and French were like what I studied in school for whatever. But it wasn't Ichi ni san go niro. I don't know. I think that's about where it goes.
Did you just what? What was that?
But it's not until you actually start going to those places. You could study for 2 years on something, but it's not until you actually go to that country and you're forced to be a part of that culture that you will learn the language easier. To learn a culture or learn a language, going to their culture is going to help you tenfold.
Yeah, my brother and I did this trip to Nepal, which was absolutely, it was amazing. I can't wait to go back someday. But the way we did it was we stayed at kind of host families. So I stayed with a family, and then Zach stayed with another family, and no one in the family spoke English. It was all their local like Nepali language in that tribe.
So you and Zach come to a country and just get separated?
Yeah. So we're in the same village, but we're a good walk away from each other. We had to stay a week with these families and just kind of like immerse ourselves with these families. It was great. And like when we showed up, they're like, "So do you guys have any preference of who you live with?" And Zach's like, "No, yeah, I don't care at all. Maybe put me in one without kids."
Hey, by the way, that's what I would have said. 100%.
Totally. And we were with another friend called Gary, and he goes, "Yeah, you know what? Me too." And I'm looking at them like, "Okay, I like give all the kids to me." So I'm in a family with like 10 kids, like 10 little children.
When was this?
This was right after I ran the Boston Marathon, so about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So we flew there literally the day after I ran the Boston Marathon.
That's amazing.
I was living with this family with 10 children and for a week. It was incredible, but I started to pick up like the most necessary words, and you would think like hello or goodbye and all these things. The most important one was I'm full, because they'll just eat. They want to feed you until you're stuffed. So like they'll just keep putting food on. I'm just like, no, Pugyo. Yeah. I'm full, stop. And like, so that was like, it was like Pugyo. It was like little brother, because of all the little guys in there. It was like Oma or whatever for mom. It was just like you learned like these words in order of importance. It was pretty cool. Like,
and how long were you in that situation for?
About a week.
A week. And I would say in a week you would learn more than studying for a year with a teacher in a room.
Totally.
It's so true.
Yeah. And a lot of it is just shouting out words. It's not like I was learning like proper language. I was just had a running list of really important words that I would say at the right time.
Yeah. I go back to being a student. I'm not even going to call myself a student. I was going back to being a learner at Musicians Institute. Learner's even worse.
Learner's not good.
Yeah, it's not good.
Like in Australia,
I was attending.
In Australia, you get a learner permit, which means you get to put an L on your car, so you have to put an L plate on your car.
Okay.
Nobody ever wants the L plate.
I was shocked when I saw that the L and the P on the car. It's like it feels like it's like stereotyping kids.
Yeah,
it is. Cops can be like, "Oh, that's an L or a P. I'm gonna pull them over."
Exactly.
Yeah.
I that was shocking. I'm so happy we don't do that.
That's Australian culture right there. Yeah. We like if your learner's permit, you got to put an L. and then once you get your driver's license and you're able, a learner's permit means you're driving with somebody that's over 18.
Okay.
And then you're under 18. I think it's 16 to 18. And then a P is 18 and over, and you're able to drive by yourself. But if you have a P plate, you are just a sitting duck for the cops.
Oh my gosh.
It's like for the first full year of having your license, and it's not a small P. Like you would think we were talking about, like in the corner. This is like a second license plate. That's huge. It's like a 4x4. It's a big P.
Oh my God. I remember attending Musicians Institute here in Los Angeles, and like how scared all the kids would be to touch music gear because they would, do something wrong or get a bad grade or whatever.
Yep.
And it's like, dude, once you're actually like in the studio and you're like working with real people and it's like you're part of the process and understanding it, it's such a different thing, just like actually throwing yourself into something and like experiencing it.
Absolutely.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
So let's take it back. You graduate college, and then you move straight here to Los Angeles.
Yeah. So I moved in with my brother. So that was amazing. I probably wouldn't have been able to do it if I didn't.
That helps out a little bit.
Yeah. Which is cool because he's a 27-year-old guy, and he's just like, yeah, this college grad can come stay at his spare room. Like, it's a lot to do. So I'm very thankful he let me do that. But
And then when you got here to Los Angeles, and then Warner Brothers was the job at Warner. What was the job at Warner Brothers?
I started there as an intern, and then I turned into a trainee, and then I turned into a production office coordinator. It was kind of like my boss took me in as like he felt like my dad in LA. Like he really was there to support me and help my career go as far as it could at Warner Brothers.
And how old were you when you got the internship?
I think I interned there when I was still in college.
Okay.
So probably 21 when I first interned there, and I worked there until I was 20, probably like almost 26.
Okay. Oh wow, so a long time. Like, what was
Yeah.
the process like for you to getting that internship? For people who are just like curious to be like, oh my God, working at Warner, like that's amazing.
Yeah.
Was it someone you knew, or was it like?
Yeah, it was all someone I met. I met Ravi was my boss for all 5 years, and he's a producer still at Warner Brothers. But I met him at a wedding. It was like I think it was someone that worked for my brother, and I met him at a wedding, and then we hit it off, and then he told me he had an internship. At that point, I wasn't even interested in film, but just like, Warner Brothers is a big company. That'll look good on a resume.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
took
of
it,
course.
and it completely changed my life.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, because what you went to go to school for, you've now graduated college and you're going to work at Warner Brothers. And I guarantee, I feel like they're two completely different skill sets.
Yeah, I guess it's a business, so it makes sense. But I think that's what I enjoyed about business was I could apply it to everything. And
Right.
Economics was almost a way of thinking, and I still do apply those things I learned to this. But
And then let's go back and look at those jobs over that 6-year period. What jobs and what did you learn, and what was the difference between? Because I think you said 3 different jobs. You started as intern, and then you went to
yeah. So production office coordinator was the highest I got there, and it was cool. I took over for someone that retired, so it was a really good job. I was 25, and then the 5 other people with that job were all in their 40s.
Wow.
So
Dang,
I easily
cool.
could have retired in that position, and I was very fortunate to be in it. But my goal of working at Warner Brothers was I wanted to learn how a film was made. So I wanted, I worked in production. I was budgeting and scheduling. My boss let me, he was the master, and he wanted me to learn everything I could. So it was just the best, most conducive environment to learn how to actually produce a movie.
Yep.
So that was my goal then. And I ended up leaving. So that's a whole other story.
How do you? I mean,
Yeah, that's what I
what
know.
is the step like?
We want to make a movie. What's the process?
What's the process? I mean, high level, what would be if someone was interested?
So high level, it all starts with the script, and that's kind of what I left to do. I left Warner Brothers to go write scripts, but so it all starts with the script, and then you schedule it out. We hired department heads, so that's kind of how the whole creative process works. Is you have, I'm not I can budget and I can schedule, but my boss and I would hire a construction coordinator or whatever. We would hire the department head in each department to run and tell us what their budgets were. So it was construction, it was like even craft service. It was like you just hire the head of each department, and then they hire everyone else below them.
Yeah.
So
It's like you're getting bids from all these different
exactly.
departments. It's like, building a building or something. You go and find the right people to do it.
Yeah, you hire the DP, and he's got his first AC. He's got his whole camera crew. So we only hire one person. It's this avalanche effect or snowfall.
And then what's the number on like some of these projects of actual heads working on these movies?
It all just depends on the this was all feature films. So like the last film I worked on was A Star Is Born at Warner Brothers. But
Nice.
I worked on a lot of like Ben Affleck films like Live by Night and The Accountant. So a lot of these were backed into a number. So you're backed into, all right, you guys have to make this for 80 million. So then it's like, that's what we start with, and then we budget everything to accommodate that. So a lot of times it's based on whatever they're willing to make the movie for. So Chips was another one. With Chips, we had a lot lower of a budget. So everything's a smaller scale of this. So.
How many projects go over budget?
Oh yeah, a lot.
All the time, I'm sure, right?
Yeah,
like, here's another 20 million into the old hopper to get it done.
Yeah.
Well, I like that you Ben Affleck still uses film, right? Is that true?
He didn't actually on I think it was Live by Night. I don't think he did, but he prefers it for sure.
He prefers film, which is a lot more expensive in today's age.
Exactly. The Accountant he did. Because I remember they sent all the films, like all the odds or whatever they call them, the odd reels. They sent them all back to us after they were done. But I think Live by Night, he would actually, he said we don't have to use film. So.
What are some of the worst possible scenarios that happen on a film set or making a movie?
Oof, that's a good question.
Yeah, geez. Weather is terrible.
Weather is a big factor. It's the same thing in the live business, right? Weather can destroy things.
Yeah,
in a big way.
Yeah, because the schedule is such a delicate puzzle that like we'll spend days making it perfect, and then you hire someone who's like, oh well, I'm only going to do this if I can work on a Thursday or Friday. So now you're changing the whole schedule based on this one person's availability, and then you fixed it, but then all of a sudden it rains on Thursday, so then you got to fix it again, and it's just the schedule is constantly just shifting. And
crazy.
Just one rainy day leads to just ruined equipment, so then people are putting all the equipment in, and all that cost goes against you. It's just
God bless the project manager. Those things.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So you did 6 years there, and you always kind of knew that you were going to go off and what did you say you were into screenwriting? Yeah.
So the whole time I was there, I was also screenwriting because like someone told me a long time ago, there's 3 stages of a movie. It's like the film that's written on the script, then the film that's shot, and then by the director or whatever, and then the film that's edited by the editor. So it's 3 completely different movies, and the editor would say, look, I think the most important is the edited one because that's the one that everybody sees. But so I felt like I learned that how to make the project, the middle part, and then I was like, well, really, I want to make the script. I want to actually be the creator of these films, not just the person who's executing it.
Yep.
So I left, and I was writing scripts, made some good ones, made some bad ones, and then ended up having a good enough one to get me hired by the Lifetime channel.
Wow.
So I left Warner Brothers to go write a script for the Lifetime channel.
That's cool.
Nice. Yeah. What was that script about?
It was about Lisa Nowak, the astronaut who she like notoriously wore diapers, and she tried.
I did not know this. Why did she wear diapers?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but she wore diapers because it was a love triangle. She tried to kill another astronaut.
Oh wow!
Wow. And she says she didn't try to kill, but it was all just this romantic, juicy love triangle that was really fun to write, but someone else ended up making the same story. It was Noah Hawley. It's coming out next year. So
okay.
I don't think my script will ever make it.
Yeah, it sounds like a movie Dingo should have featured.
Yeah, I'm right here. I'm right here. So it seems like you've taken all these certain skill sets, and we'll jump over to a little bit of kind of your lifestyle. And that's why I really want to talk today, because what I've noticed in the last couple years is like you do all these amazing outdoor activities, from rock climbing to hiking to triathlons to beach volleyball to, you just said you run the Boston Marathon. Like I feel like there are all these outdoor activities and events and sporting things that you have just made your lifestyle over the course of you've probably obviously been a fit man your whole life, but now you've started to transcend these things. And I saw that you do like the Lululemon run club, and then the trip I want to talk about is like the GoPro Summit you just did on Australia, and you've been able to take all these amazing activities and then take your knowledge from creating films and content and being able to create this great content for like these amazing companies, kind of like worldwide. Like, did you always know that you wanted to step into that, or did that just kind of find you because of what you were doing with like your outdoor activities and then your knowledge of filmmaking?
I think it kind of found me because, like I said, I grew up being outdoorsy, and that was really what we did and was what made me happy. Then I went the studio route and I worked in film, and I like, gosh, I still talk about one film. I went to New Orleans to work on Get Hard with Kevin Hart and all them. It was Kevin Hart and Will Ferrell, and we filmed for like over a week straight in a parking garage. And it was sweltering hot. It was just like, it was terrible. And I was like, I don't want to be in this industry to not have fun while we're actually doing this. So I started to think how I can have fun while creating. And I think that moment was big for me, because then it started to, like, I started to take projects on that were outdoorsy and like just trying to make my lifestyle my work, like you said. And another thing you said is like, it feels awesome that you're like pointing out the lifestyle, because I think in this day and age, it's so easy to recognize other people's lifestyle when yours is like staring at you in the face. And you don't really notice it. And I think that's kind of what happened to me, was like I see all these people that I love and like look up to on social, and then like you really, like, one day you kind of look at yourself and you're like, oh, I have something that I can hang my hat on. I don't have to be a pro at anything. I don't have to. You have a lifestyle, a way of life that people might look up to.
Well, that's what we were talking about, and you were saying earlier is like, you're like, well, I've never been the best at anything. Mm-hmm. Maybe triathlon. Can you be considered a pro triathlete?
Yeah, I'm not even a pro. I can win races, and I hang my hat on that I was like the top 1% in my age group.
Yep,
wow, that's like an all-world it's like all-world athlete gold. So I like my time in Ironman competitions, definitely something I can hang my hat on, and running is. But
what was your time?
So my Ironman time is 10 hours and 20 minutes. So the pros are still like on sub 10, but so I'm like right there. I'm probably like one step behind the pros, and then Boston Marathon I ran in sub 3 hours. So like,
wow.
Those times are good, but they're not pro. Like, there's people who are running Boston Marathon in 2:20 and 2:15. So
I did the half marathon in 2:20.
Yeah, I walked from the car to the office.
Oh my God. Yeah, you walked from the car to the office in 2:20. That's so crazy.
What would be your favorite? What's your favorite what's your favorite activity?
Probably running.
Running?
Yeah, it's definitely the hardest on your body too. So I think it's the discipline and just I don't know. After a run, you feel so good, and I think it's hard to replicate that anywhere else. So.
What would be, because today you've already said like Nepal with your brother, and then all these other activities. What's your favorite like activity destination, or like one of the most like extreme trips that you've been on, and you've kind of gone and conquered some things?
I think Costa Rica is just. It has a special place in my heart. I don't know why, but like I think the surfing, the diverse, like you can go to the Caribbean side and see a completely different feel than the South side, where like the South is like the jungle and it's like the most biodiverse place in the world. And you go to the center and it's like almost like Paso Robles. It's like drier, and they can grow wine there. I think it's just so diverse. It's like. It's such a beautiful place. That's where I got this tattoo. Like I've been to Costa Rica quite a few times, and
I feel like if you're an adventurous person, Costa Rica it has all the has everything it needs.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it there.
So you just went on a trip that I really want to talk about. It was in my motherland. It was a GoPro Summit. What is a GoPro Summit?
So it was 40 creators from all over the world that came together in Broome, Australia, and we all just started. It was kind of an introduction to us all, because like a lot of us can collaborate. Like even since that day, I have like 2 potential shows with all these cool creators. But so GoPro just kind of put these 40 creators in the same room and was like, hey, like go have fun together, go create together. let's like build our family and
Sounds rad.
oh, it was so cool.
So explain to us what happened on the trip. So are these people from all around the world?
Yeah, there were some people that didn't even speak English that well. It was just but like we all had this thing in common that was we all created and we all like adventure. So it was like everybody just hit it off right away. And by far, like Broome was awesome, but the people that we were with is what made the trip.
And how do you get invited to something like that, or how did that happen?
I think like I started posting some stuff with GoPro, so that was on their radar.
Yep.
And then like a lot of these people are GoPro sponsored athletes.
Yep.
So I think it was all just people that GoPro has their eye on and wants to maintain the relationship
Interesting.
with.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't just throwing up great GoPro content. It was like the fact that you're also an athlete, the fact that you also are involved with these other areas too.
There were pro snowboarders, pro surfers. There's a bunch of professionals on this, and then there was also like vloggers. So like it was again like the thing that it was pretty funny seeing like Tim Humphries. He's like an epic snowboarder right next to like a vlogger from India, and it was like,
that
is funny. I know Tim for a long time, so that is weird. So like I say, so GoPro picks out like 40 of influencers, athletes, content creators, and then they bring you to Broome, Australia, because I saw you up in airplanes. I saw that people were skydiving. I saw that people, and then everybody has to go and create their own pieces.
Yeah, so it was cool. They incentivized us to create quick pieces. It was like they were also teaching us stuff. So they would teach us what an arc of a 1 minute story looks like, what an arc of a 10-minute story should look like the beats you should hit, how to cut it to music. So they were teaching us things, and we were able to apply it that day. So they were taking us on cool excursions to like horizontal falls where we can go film and then later that night edit the content and then try to submit whatever we made for money. So like I think I never actually submitted anything for money, but I was really like trying to learn, and like that's where I picked up Premiere Pro and like taking everything to the next level. So
man, that's so cool. And it's like that to be able to have opportunities like that, taking like to be able to take, again, being able to take your lifestyle and then have a company like GoPro is like, hey, we're going to bring you to Australia with all these other influencers and vloggers and bloggers and athletes. And to be a part of that like elite group is like, again, like you're saying, you just kind of have walked into it, but that's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah. I feel very fortunate. And like, I think it's that what got me there is just the willingness to say yes, and like willingness to just keep like, I just step into these things that I'm not an expert at, but I try, and like I'm willing to fail. And
that's amazing. I think it's like a combination of your story of going through, you know, the competitive stuff that you were doing early on, and then going through your filmmaking stuff, and then figuring out a way to where all those things can come together to start to make sense for lifestyle opportunities to work within a career that suits the kind of, to be able to live through your work essentially. I don't think that stuff happens like right away. You know, if you're like a young kid or in high school or in college being like, man, I want to live my lifestyle and, you know, be able to live through my work. I think that stuff kind of happens gradually over time as certain elements of your life and experiences start to come together, which is cool, you know, like, yeah.
If it would have happened to me when I was 20, I wouldn't have been ready for it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have known what my lifestyle was, I guess. I at that point, I still thought like I wanted to be a director, and like like every day you're learning more about everything. So
was it a week in a parking lot in New Orleans?
Yeah, that was exactly
with Kevin Hart and Will Ferrell to realize that you don't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god. And I mean, I like to. I just saying how you throw yourself into the fire in situations and just learn a lot of stuff. I think that's amazing, because I feel like a lot of people have a hard time with that mentality of like jumping in to take a risk or jumping in to try something different. Like, was that something you were just born with, or is it something where you're like, you're so driven to succeed that it doesn't matter to you? Or is that just what do you accredit that to? And do you have advice for people maybe that, you know?
I think I'm hungry to learn. So like, I really think like the process is so fun on stuff. So like surfing is a good example. I did not pick up surfing when I was young. I really wish I did, but I learned probably when I was like 23 or something like that. And it was so hard. You see people make it look so easy. And it, like, longboarding can be easy, but like it is a hard sport. And I just keep trying, because it's like I find such enjoyment from it. And every little step I take, as soon as I was able to surf a shortboard, it was like that first wave I'm always going to remember. It's like I enjoy that process of becoming good at something.
Yeah.
And I think it's easy to be deterred if you're not good at something right away, but like finding and like keep pushing through.
It seems like you have a lot of patience for stuff too, which I think is important. Like
Yeah.
having patience to get better and to know that like it doesn't need to happen the next month to be like a perfectionist, you know?
Yeah, because honestly, that's what's fun. Is like when I'm in the water and I like completely eat crap on a wave, but like I'm with my friends and they look at me or like, dude, like way to go in for that, or like that was gnarly. I'm like, oh shit, all right. I don't know.
That's cool. Also, too, one thing, like, when did you pick up rock climbing?
That was another thing. So like
When did you pick up curling in the Arctic?
like I had that first day where I didn't like, I wanted to be a rock climber and I wasn't. So it was like rock climbing is one of those things that I feel like so many people want to do and are like, oh, I can never do that. But like, it was just there was one day that was my first day and I sucked, but it was like, I did it and I loved it. And I was like, how can I get better at this? I started researching YouTube. I was going to indoor climbing gyms nonstop. And I was just like, I need to get better at this because it's something I love. And so many of these things are skills that I want to share with friends too. Cause like surfing and rock climbing are perfect examples. Like I don't want to be the guy in my friend group that there's an awesome Costa Rica trip that everyone's going surfing and I don't know how to surf, so I can't go on the trip. Like,
that's true.
That's literally like a dream trip and I can't do it because I can't surf. Like that's almost the driving force for me. It's like I want to be able to, the most fun I have in this world is like when friends go off on an adventure and like that time you spent. So like going on climbing trips and stuff like that. Like I want to have those skills.
Yeah, there's nothing better than a good adventure with your friends.
Yeah.
One thing you said that I really has like stuck out to me in this is that like finding your own hat, right? And like you're able to look up to people, and I think we live in a time now where unfortunately a lot of people try and become something they're not, or look at somebody on social media or are trying to be someone they're not, and they're like following down that path of trying to be someone, and they're losing the best part is that you should just need to be yourself. And I think one thing you said about finding your hat and hanging your hat up, which is I think in the last probably like 2 years for you has really come in to make sense of you've done all these jobs and you've worked and you realize what you didn't want to do, and then it's come back to your lifestyle and your passion and the things you love, and now you're being able to go create content. You're being taken all over the world to create content on things you love. And I think that's one thing to take away from today is that be yourself and like learn about yourself, look up to people, but like really like hone in on who you are, because then those doors are going to open up for you. And I think that like in the last like couple years, that's happened for yourself. And I think that's just one thing to note for people listening or watching is that like go and be yourself. Like take qualities from people, but like genuinely be yourself, and those doors are going to open for you, which you don't see, but they're there.
Absolutely. And I think the word is being authentic. It really is like, if you would have asked me, like my brother was a gifted actor, very gifted actor,
very successful actor,
and that's what I'm not that. I cannot act, but I can be authentic. So like if I'm authentic, it shows on camera, and that's I'm authentic to myself, and it shows an authentic person on camera. If I'm trying to be someone else, and I'm trying to act, it's completely different. So like. I think that day that I was just like, I'm just going to be myself. I've got nothing to hide. That's the day that you start showing what you're made of. And who
and
you
things
are.
start opening up to you because you're now receptive to new things. And
Oh.
I like that.
What's next for you? What's on the horizon? Like, what do you want to go and do? Like, what's that next step for Dillon?
Yeah, I've got quite a few shows that I want to create with friends and like I said, I guess just more. I'm in this creating mode, so I really, whether that's a YouTube channel, whether that's like Nat Geo or whatever avenue takes place, like I just want to create. So I think there's been some time where I've sat back and kind of let. I don't know. The Australian Summit was a good like wake up call in a way for me, because I see 40 creators who were born into, like, this is a weird way to put it, but they were born into a situation less favorable to create content than I was. Like it almost feels like it was in my lap, and I wasn't taking advantage of it. And I see these 40 people that every day they're just producing content, whether it's shot on a GoPro, their iPhone, they're just putting themselves out there and creating stuff. So I just want to start that. I want to create as much as I can and have fun doing it. So.
Yeah, because that's what I noticed when you said they were teaching you how to make a 10-minute short and this and that. Like, I feel like for you, if somebody's you're learning, but you know how to make a movie from A, B, and C from start to finish. So you got to look at this 10 minutes and you're like, oh, I know I have to make a mini movie out of all these things. Whereas these athletes and other people are content creators, but not used to making a story work. Whereas you probably know how to make a story work, and then the content follows.
It's helped me with editing a lot because I don't have to worry as much about structure as much as like just learning this new platform, like how to actually cut things, how to add things, and all these effects. So like that's been the issue for me, not so much the how to make the story. So.
Got a question which we like to ask on this podcast a lot.
Shoot it.
What does it mean to you to find your grind?
I think it's just finding what makes you happy and pursuing it. Yeah. So so like again, like I said, nothing in this world makes me happier than when I'm with my friends and family and adventuring. Like I found this last 2 to 3 years of my life where I've traveled the world with my brother and with friends, and just like I've seen more of the world in this last 2 years than the 25 before it.
Yeah.
And this 2 years feels like it's been 10 for me, where that 5 years of Warner Brothers went by in a flash.
Yeah.
Like it really went by so fast. And I think that just speaks to me that like the amount of stuff I've packed in this last 2 years is the way I should be trying to live my life. Like I want my life to feel like it has all these memories, and I'm packing it to its fullest. So
love that. It's a good one.
That's pretty good.
That was a really good one.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you hit it. I don't think we have much more to hit after that. I think we hit a lot of it. And like, I think for you, man, I think that you are just at the beginning of what you're doing right now. I know that you guys you work on that YouTube show as well.
Yeah.
And I think that like you're finding your stride there. And I think that you with the content that I've watched that you're creating and how you're doing it, and the people that are tuning in and watching it, I really just think you're kind of at your beginning. And I was really excited to do this episode because we at Find Your Grind literally are telling people to live their lifestyles. And you're somebody that I've looked in the last couple of years that has taken your lifestyle, and now you figure out how to make a job of it through your content creating and your skill set there, but then your skill set through what you love to do every day. And I just think that you probably wake up and you're pretty happy every day.
Yeah, no, I am. And no, and thank you for having me on the show, because like when you asked me to be on the podcast, I didn't hesitate, because you're someone I also respect and look up to. I think, so I think that just saying yes to a podcast, even that's something that's so small, but like I easily could have said no, and I'm not ready yet. Let me get a show under my belt, or let me do more with my life. But like the reality is like I really enjoy you. I'm happy to catch up. Like let's talk. So
love it. I love it.
Awesome.
Where can people find your work and your stuff?
So I've been working on my brother's YouTube channel. That's what I've been doing most recently. And then I think I'm gonna have some stuff coming out soon. So
Cool.
I'll probably create my own YouTube channel. And go from there. So
What's the name of Zach's YouTube show?
it's just Off the Grid is what the one. I'm on. It's me and Zach have a adventure show called Off the Grid. That's on his YouTube channel.
Cool.
So,
Okay. Awesome.
yeah.
Sweet.
Dylan, thank you
so much for coming, man.
Hanging out,
It was
man.
awesome, dude. Yeah.
I'm going to take you to the Yosemite slip and slide. All right.
All right. Please do.
Yeah.
Just let me know when.
I love it. All right. Thanks, man.
All right. Thank you, guys.